They are accusing Democrats of saying we spend too much. For anyone that wants to entertain that thought, I ask you to think about the last time a person has said in this country that the government does too much for them, that their Social Security check was too high, that teachers are paid too much. When was the last time anyone has heard or seen that?
What is really going on here? On one end, you've got a member of the squad, AOC, telling Americans we should be grateful to Democrats. But grateful for what, exactly? What have Democrats actually done for Americans, other than spend recklessly and bury us deeper in debt? AOC stands there lecturing the country, acting like government knows best, like Americans owe Democrats some kind of thank you note for inflation, chaos, and a weaker nation. Her message is simple. Be quiet, be grateful, and accept whatever Washington hands you. But then you have Chip Roy, and he wasn't going to stand there and listen to that garbage. He wasn't going to let Democrats emotionally blackmail Americans with careless rhetoric from a member of the so-called squad who clearly despises this country's values. Roy said what regular Americans are thinking but aren't allowed to say in Washington. Chip Roy drew the line. Because Americans don't need lectures from the squad. Now let's watch the video and we will get a breakdown at the end.
Another quote. President Biden already lowered the deficit by $1.7 trillion. They say his budget would cut the deficit by another $3 trillion by eliminating wasteful spending on big oil and pharma, we're told. But it is in fact our Democratic colleagues who prefer to maintain their massive subsidies for the elites and the wealthy in their so-called Inflation Reduction Act just last year. My friend from New York, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, said, quote, I ask you, think about the last time a person has said in this country that the government does too much for them. When was the last time anyone has heard or seen that? I'll say it. I'll say it right here. I don't want the government doing most of the things that the government is doing to interfere with the ability of the American people to carry out their lives. Federal, state, and local. When was the last time you had a bureaucrat show up and you said, oh joy, thank you, I'm really glad there's a bureaucrat here? When was the last time you were thankful for $32 trillion in debt, $100,000 almost for every man, woman, and child in America? Anybody thankful for $32 trillion in debt? Anybody? Anybody thankful for a border that's wide open being exploited by cartels while fentanyl comes in and kills our children? Everybody thankful for that Department of Homeland Security that doesn't actually secure the homeland? Everybody thankful for an FBI that went after Scott Smith and labeled him a domestic terrorist for daring to defend his daughter in a school board meeting because she was assaulted in a bathroom? Anybody thankful for the IRS knocking on your door, auditing the poor and the minorities 3 to 5 times more? People thankful for that? Are you thankful for the EPA or the Department of Interior that sent a man to prison because he had some ponds on his ranch in Montana? We have a government that is weaponized against the American people and is undermining our liberties, and they want more of it. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle want more government. They want more taxes. They want more spending. They want more bureaucrats knocking on your door.
This wasn't about policy, it was about power. AOC and the squad want Americans to feel dependent, grateful to government, and afraid to question reckless spending. Chip Roy flipped that script. He reminded everyone that government exists to serve the people, not control them, not lecture them, and not bankrupt them. This moment exposed the core divide in America right now. One side wants bigger government, more debt, more bureaucracy, and more excuses. The other side wants accountability, freedom, and a government that actually stays in its lane. AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley don't want a government that works for Americans. They want a government that controls Americans, and lectures them into being grateful for it. They have zero accountability. Inflation. Not their fault. Crime. Not their fault. Border chaos. Not their fault. Debt spiraling out of control. Still not their fault. There is never ownership, only excuses. The moment you don't agree with their policies, you're labeled racist, extremist, or dangerous. They don't argue policy, they shame Americans into compliance while claiming the moral high ground. They attack American values while claiming to represent Americans. From faith to free speech to parental rights, the squad mocks or undermines traditional American values, then insists they're acting for the people. Their rhetoric often sounds more hostile to America than protective of it. The squad doesn't want smaller government that works, they want bigger government that controls. And that's exactly why moments like Chip Roy pushing back matter, because someone has to say no on behalf of the American people.